Welcome back to Novel iDeea. I am going to be showing you my collection of The Little Prince today. So, without further ado, let's jump in and get started. The Little Prince is by Antoine de St-Exupery, and he was the author and the illustrator for this originally. This is my French version, and it is the original artwork. This is a Folio Junior edition. This one is not translated because it is in French, and no, I cannot read it. I'm going to be showing you this picture over and over again today because this is the tone quality that The Little Prince should be in every single edition. These very soft, almost muted color palette. And he has very, very simple drawings, art style of The Little Prince. One thing that we never see in the original artwork is the pilot or the pilot's plane. That is never something that we see. So we do see him in the desert, and we do, see that he has met a snake or climbed a mountain. But in a few of the editions that I'll show you, especially like when they're at the well and different things like this, they seldom are just the Little Prince. And I think Exupery did not show the pilot quite on purpose. And the reason for that is because it was him that was telling the story, and he didn't need to include himself or draw himself into the book. And so this is my La Petite Prince, and this is the Folio edition. So this is my Wordsworth edition, special collector's edition, I guess. And it only has this illustration by Claire Shorrock on the front and the back. And he's a very, very good rendition of The Little Prince. But inside, none of the artwork by Exupery is in color. So it's all black and white, which is totally not the way that he initially meant for it to be. So, special collector's edition, but nothing special about it except for this cover art, which I do love, by Claire Shorrock. And then in this very plain cover, no cover, old library copy, it is very much a English version of the original French edition. So you can see it's in color. It is translated from the French by Richard Howard. And like I said, let me show you the Little Prince himself because I want to pull the original up here. So this is a much deeper color tone than the original French one. You see that? So same colors, but deeper and more intense kind of tones to it. This is the copy that I tend to read from because it is English. It's already seen lots of use because of the library, you know, it being an ex-library copy. So I tend to read from this one when I do read The Little Prince, unless I can find a new, completely different translator at the library. This is probably my least favorite of the original pictures because this one is so intense. And again, let me pull up the picture of the Little Prince in the original, and I will tell you who the translator of this one is. This one is translated from the French by Catherine Woods, but you can already see that it is not the same kind of color tones that you get in the original French. So not only does this look like almost like a raspberry color instead of this soft, almost salmon color. You see those? So these feel almost completely different as far as colors go to me. And the whole book is like that. And I remember reading about Beatrix Potter when she was publishing her artwork along with her stories. It was a big, big deal for her to make sure that she had a very fine line as far as the black outlining went. And she had a very specific color palette that she wanted her artwork published in because she felt that it conveyed the most like the softness and the coziness and the most natural for her stories. And I think Exupery did the same thing with The Little Prince. So this artwork on the cover isn't too far off, but when you open it up and see those color things, it doesn't look anything like what they did on the cover. So this one is probably my least favorite. Even though it's a nice addition, it's just not very much fun for me to look at because of the fact that it's just not printed in the right colorway. And then lastly, as far as the original pictures go, I have a pop-up book of The Little Prince, and this is absolutely wonderful. I'll try and fold it so that you guys can see all of the pop-ups. So here's the snake that swallowed the elephant that everybody thinks is a hat. And this is definitely more intense than the original, but it still feels truer than the other one did for some reason, to me. I'm not exactly sure why. These are the sheep that he drew, and he finally drew one in a box because none of them were turning out just right. This Little Prince on his planet. This is looking through the microscope. or the telescope, excuse me, not microscope. He's taking care of the plant. Here's the tree. I love this one. So cool. This one's just a flap. There we go. All of the pages practically in this one are interactive in some way. So you either have a pop-up or you have a flap, or there are a couple where this one is one of those. So this one has a little dial on the side and you can make the stars twinkle behind him. There's another one, that's the clown. This one, I don't know if you can see the the magnifying glass going up and down as he looks at the page. This one, the snake looks like it's crawling. Okay. And this one, we'll go this way. He's standing on top of the mountain. This one, you can see him going closer and him turning around and looking. This one goes this way. One of the things with pop-up books is when you don't open a certain page very often, sometimes you have to kind of get the kinks out. Okay, and this one, he goes up the rock and down the rock. And that is it. And then all of a sudden, all you see is his star. So you can see the star there, but when you turn this back, you can't see it. But then you look up in the star after he's gone, or up in the sky after he's gone, and there it is. So that is the pop-up book. This is from HMH, which is what? Houghton Mifflin Harcourt. And this one is translated by, let's see, it's the same translator. Yeah, Richard Howard. So this is the original English translation. And then the other ones that I have to show you are all going to be by different artists than Exupery. And some of them still stayed very true to his art style. And some of them are completely different. So this one is translated by Alan Wakeman and is illustrated by Michael Foreman. And it's one of the first ones that you're going to see. Practically every other edition that has been illustrated by someone else includes the pilot and the plane. And so all of the editions you're about to see have a very similar looking prints, but the pilot and the plane will be included. So I really like how true to Exupery's style Michael Foreman tried to stay, but here we have the pilot, his plane, and the prints. But see how detailed the pilot is and how simple the prints is. There's the sheep. And again, he just tried to stay very true to Exupery's style. This one is really not anything like. So what he did is he completely changed the background, changed his coloring, put the scarf around him, all of those kinds of things. I'm trying to find the next one with the pilot in it. Here it is. And that's, of course, the one that you saw on the cover, but it's just a little more full. And then another one. And he includes a gun in this one, which Exupery never included any kind of an illustration of a gun in his, even though it is in the story. There's no illustration of it. And again, very simple little prints, a little more detailed pilot. And then lastly, there he goes home. So really beautiful illustrations and very close to what Exupery did himself, and yet with a little more detail and a little more of a artistic style, I would say. This one I got a couple of years ago in a K-Tropathon giveaway, and this is completely in Korean. So I'm not going to be able to tell you who the translator into Korean was, and I'm also not going to be able to tell you who the artist is. But they are absolutely beautiful. It's the little prince looking at his rose, and every single page is illustrated practically. Done a little bit differently with a little more flair, I would say, than Exupery did. I love the scale of things with the little prince and the fox. This one, most of the figurines, if you see figurines of the little prince in the porcelain or in resin even, you're going to probably see ones that look very similar to this artist's style choices for the little prince. There's the one that was on the cover. And sometimes they're just simple little tiny drawings like this, but many times they're full page or double page. There he is with all the birds. Just show you some of the bigger pages here. There's the tree one. I really wish I could read Korean. And I really like the way that this one is drawn, and the way the king's robe just kind of encompasses the planet, and he's still standing on the planet, but it looks like he's enveloped inside of the robe as well. I really like that. These pictures are very like soft and dreamy, and I really, really like this art style. little different for the stylized mountains and the fact that he's standing on top of one of them. There he is with the fox. And we already saw one that was like that and that. This is a cute one. To see that one. Here we go. Here's the pilot in this one, and this is his plane. Look at that plane. Very different. And that hot sun looks almost alien. I love it. So really beautiful edition. This is another quote unquote pop-up. I just got this one for my birthday. And this one is by Louise Grieg, the translation is, or the retelling is, and Sarah Massini is the artist. And this one too, as far as the little prince's face and hair and things goes, she tried to stick very close to Exupery also. You can see even the planet and the rose and that kind of stuff she tried to stick to. But again, we have a plane. That's a pop-up. This one does not have a pop-up or interaction on every single page, just on a few. So this one, there is our pilot, and he finally drew a box to put the sheep in because the little prince wasn't happy with the way that he was drawing the sheep. And these are just wonderful. Here he is. This is another pop-up you can see. And he is doing all the different things for his rose on his planet, taking care of it. Here's the birds carrying him off to see if he can find something that he doesn't know yet what it is he's looking for in the different planets as he's being carried around by the birds. There's our fox. Plane. Here they are watching the other animals. There he is. And one last pop-up. I like this one because here you can see the little prince, but you can't see him also. You can just see he's a star in the sky and the plane is finally working and finally flying. Last one. I do have one other one and I will pop up a picture of it. I couldn't find it. It's probably in my cedar chest or still in a box somewhere. This one is The Little Prince, illustrated by Claudia Borden, and is absolutely lovely. And I can't remember the illustrator. Her name is Irina Orishkevich. I love this. And papers. all the adults trying to figure out what the drawing is of. There's him meeting the pilot, and he's asking him to draw him a sheep. This one, like I said, it's not the full story. Maybe it is. If I'm remembering correctly, this is more of a retelling. Not a retelling, but abridged anyway. Maybe it is a retelling that I'm thinking. There's his planet. I love that she made his home into almost a little castle. This is the illustration style, the color choices. I feel like it's really, really true to what Exupery would have done if he could have, you know, if he was a better artist. I love this tree. So great. It's hard to draw something that is supposed to be three-dimensional on a flat page, so I thought that was really well done. There he is moving his chair so he can see the sunrise. There's his rose he's taking such good care of. In this one, she has him being carried by geese instead of doves. Here's the king when he visits King's planet. I love this little mouse. It's so cute. There's the snake. This one would have been, my friend Heather always does a deep dive in things. This would have been a good one for the Year of the Snake too. She did a deep dive on books that have snakes in the story. I didn't even think of the Little Prince. There's the fox. This one. Such lovely, lovely colors. So that is the one by Claudia Borden, illustrated by Claudia Borden. There you go, you guys. So that is all of them, and they are wonderful. Like I said, I do have that one other one that I will pop on the screen. So here are my stack of Little Prince with other illustrators than Antoine de St-Exupery. And these ones are my stack of the ones that are Antoine de St-Exupery. So that's everything from me. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye-bye.